What is up, my future crypto millionaires? Today is Saturday, October 6th, 2018. I think 2018 has been a great year for crypto. I've said it before, I'll say it again. But in this video, I want to talk about maybe the biggest thing that has changed since 2017. The major shift, the major paradigm shift that's happened this year in 2018 that was not necessarily the case at all in 2017. Has nothing to do with the price. I do 100% think it will affect the price. Without a doubt, I think it's a huge reason crypto will succeed. I think it's something that's been a long time coming, something that crypto deserves, and something that is inevitably going to be the case for crypto. But it's also something that wasn't really in the cards in 2017. It seems like looking back now, where we are now, back to this exact time, 2017, the community and the feel around crypto has shifted, and there are a lot of articles that kind of back this up and say the same thing. There's surveys as well. But before we get into the surveys, I just want to take a look at this article because I find it very interesting here. Institutions are more bullish on Bitcoin than retail investors, Fundstrat finds. So it starts off, there's a general perception that retail investors are susceptible to rosy-eyed forecasts about the future of Bitcoin, while institutions are more clear-headed about the prospects of this nascent asset class. However, a new survey conducted by Wall Street strategy firm Fundstrat suggests that once institutional investors are interested in Bitcoin, they become even more bullish than their retail counterparts. So this, for example, is something you didn't see in 2017. I don't know if you guys remember back in 2017, and I guess all of the years prior to that. Institutions never really took cryptocurrency seriously. It was never really it was something that really institutions as a whole did not really want anything or didn't want to be a part of. Without a doubt, this entire movement was started from retail investors and kind of the interest of common people, everyday people, and not big institutions. In fact, we have mainly seen tons of FUD, especially in 2017, fear, uncertainty, and doubt in regards to what big financial institutions think about cryptocurrency. So from the very beginning, they were not really fans of it. They thought it was a scam, they thought it was a bubble, they thought this and that. Nothing to take seriously. However, what we've seen in 2018, one of the biggest things that we have seen is that institutions are finally taking a ton of interest. And in fact, it seems as though right now they're taking more interest and promise in the future of cryptocurrency than even regular retail investors, everyday people. So almost, an entire paradigm shift, a total flip in terms of that. So it goes on to the 6-question Twitter poll that they conducted here, which I'm just going to skip over. This part of the article, institutions love Bitcoin, retail prefers XRP. 59% of investors placing their bets on Bitcoin among institutions, which is very interesting. EOS finished a distant second at 18%, with Ethereum, Neotron, and Stellar all receiving votes. On Twitter, XRP reigned supreme with 46% of the votes. Bitcoin finished second with 31%, followed by Ethereum, EOS, and you couldn't include anymore because the Twitter poll only allows for 4 options there. Notably, the survey also found that XRP is touted for the utility it supposedly offers banks and other financial service businesses. 28% of institutional investors said that it was an investment thesis made the least sense, and none selected it as their favorite cryptocurrency. Very interesting, right? It's kind of what XRP is being marketed as. However, the institutions really don't seem to be taking too kindly to it. XRP was institutional investors' least favorite token by a fairly considerable margin, with Bitcoin finishing second at 17%. Other candidates receiving votes included Tron, Ethereum Classic, Bitcoin Cash, Cardano EOS, Litecoin, and Tether. Now, I kind of want to get back to that general idea, but I want to divert a little bit and talk very briefly about this article. Blockchain capital expert, Bitcoin is close to bottoming. So before we get into what I want to say about that article, you guys all know this. I mean, this is really just what Bitcoin has done. This is the only chart you can look at. Everybody sees this. So far, as you can see, I don't even have a line drawn there, but you can see where the bottom seems to be so far, right around 6K. Right, you can see it here, didn't quite touch there here, but then here, really since the beginning of June, as I continuously repeat in these videos. Now, one thing I'm seeing a lot everywhere is just, I saw this more in particular yesterday, and I was actually going to post a video yesterday. My file got corrupt. Hopefully this one doesn't, and hopefully I can actually upload this one. The last 4 minutes of audio for some reason just didn't show up in the one I was going to post yesterday. Hopefully we don't run into that today. But I saw a lot of videos posted yesterday saying, I can't name names, but there were 2 in particular, both with like 100,000 subscribers roughly, and they both said, like, we're coming to the end of this pattern, we're going to see a huge move down or a huge move up. And honestly, I'm really on the boat more of just a long sideways trading pattern that I think honestly will be most healthy, and I think it also seems most likely at this point. Decreased volatility, because we've seen decreased volatility for the last 4 months. We've almost been in the same range, except, every a few weeks out of that 4 months, there were like slight breakouts that all returned kind of the same range for the past 4 months since June. I'm really on board with the fact that I think crypto has to become less and less volatile, more and more stable. That doesn't mean we won't have maybe a jump up and a jump down every once in a while in that process, but I think that will be the healthiest. And it also seems like the most likely. Again, if you look back to the end of the last bear market, that's kind of what we saw. And I don't think these things ever mimic themselves perfectly, but I think the general idea of the market finding its true bottom is really like the key, right? And if we see less and less volatility and just trading alongside that bottom, that's really the only way that we can kind of be more sure that we've cemented that as the bottom. And I'm not saying 6K is the bottom. I think right now, the only thing you can say is, yeah, I mean, it kind of seems like the bottom because that's what the data shows. But until we're proven otherwise, I mean, that's the best we can kind of go on. And again, guys, I just want to make clear that I personally do believe that what we will see is more of what we've been seeing these past few weeks, more and more stability in the price. But again, that does not mean we won't have a huge breakup, maybe $1,000 in a day or two, or a huge breakdown maybe in a day or two. But these things always seem to return kind of back to like the equilibrium, or at least so far. And I think that probably is the healthiest thing we can see. I think it would be less healthy if we had maybe a huge jump down to $4,000, and I think it would be less healthy if we had a huge jump up to $8,000. And this is all in regards to Bitcoin price that I'm talking about here. So blockchain capital expert, Bitcoin is close to bottoming according to this article. And again, one last thing before we get into this. Like I've said in the last few videos, I want to kind of turn this channel into more of a medium to long-term type discussion. And I just want to preface that by saying, without a doubt in my mind, crypto is the future. Crypto is going places. And when I say it's going places, I really mean that I think it's going to the stars. I think this thing is going to blow up. Within the next few years in particular, I think this is going to take the world by storm. I think it's going to be insane in terms of the adoption that will happen once it does start happening. I think it'll happen kind of at the snap of a finger. It's going to be so fast. Right now, it doesn't seem like that. Right now is kind of like the slow, steady part. And people are going to look back during the massive increase that we're going to see and say like, oh, there was all this time where I could have gotten in. It was so boring, everything like that. And it's going to be too late for those people. Now is the best time to get in, and it's my opinion. That doesn't necessarily mean like now is the best time to buy, but it's more of me saying now is the best time to be aware of cryptocurrency and kind of decide what you're going to do right now. If you're going to buy, based on whatever you think is a good time to buy. But I'm just saying now is the best time to be interested. Now is the best time to be watching the market. Now is the best time to be aware of like the technology and to be aware of where it's going. Any day now, some huge news could come out. And even though news has really done nothing over the past year, news right now could be huge if it is the right news and if it is at the right time. And I think the longer we trade sideways, the more and more of the quote-unquote right time it is. So Spencer Bogart, an expert from digital currency and blockchain venture firm Blockchain Capital, has said that Bitcoin price has nearly found its bottom. CNBC reported on October 5th. Always be skeptical, actually, when CNBC says that Bitcoin's found a bottom. It makes me think, maybe we haven't found the bottom because CNBC is notorious for not being correct. Bogart asserted that we're down about 70% from our highs, so I think Bitcoin is close to bottoming, and so is the rest of the market. Now, the reason I bring up this article is to, I guess, provide skepticism, because whenever you see something like this where a mainstream entity such as CNBC maybe is saying that, you never know what their interests are, what their trading interests are in particular, and why they would want to put out this information. Do you really think CNBC would want to help you and kind of be like, hey guys, the market's bottom. This is the best time to buy. Let's, this is just good old CNBC helping you out. We just want you to buy in at the lowest price possible. I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. So be very skeptical. Be very, very skeptical when CNBC comes out with stuff like this. But at the same time, I think CNBC is pretty clueless, just like everyone else. And so they could be right, they could be wrong, and whether they are playing a part in some sort of manipulation, who knows? Just be aware and just be prepared that maybe 6,000 is not the bottom. But without a doubt, this decreased volatility is, I believe, definitely the key to becoming closer to the bottom. I think we are on the right track. I think when we're seeing decreased volatility and what we've been seeing over the past few months, I think that without a doubt is proof in my mind that we are getting closer to the bottom. Not saying we are at the bottom, but I think it's a very good indication. So this article titled here, U.S. Investors Divided on Outlook for Cryptocurrency Survey, Americans are split evenly on the topic of whether or not cryptocurrency represents a promising investment class with a bright future. Now, this one I would disagree with, just in the sense that I think this is going to be a huge investment vehicle and a huge investment chance for people. So they have this pie chart as well as some other charts for comparison here, or circle chart. I don't think that's necessarily a pie chart, but have you invested in cryptocurrency? 34% say yes, 66% say no. Again, this is out of 1,000 Americans aged 18 to 40 that were polled. So, it's not a very huge sample size, but enough to come up with some data. By gender, men, 43% say yes, 57% say no, and then women, 23% say yes, 77% say no. With the highest generation invested, millennials, then Generation X, and then baby boomers. So less baby boomers are invested, more millennials are invested. And essentially that trend that you have to pay attention to is that the younger the people, the more invested they are. And I think that trend is going to continue. This is one of the things I was going to say in the video yesterday. Every generation, and this is not a diss on anyone, and this is something we would want as human beings as well. We want every generation after us to become smarter, right? We want the kids that we're birthing into this planet to be smarter than us. Otherwise, we would just be going backwards. And as a human race, together, we should all want to push towards the future. We should want to be smarter. We should want to be more capable. We should want to even be more empathetic, even though that's not necessarily related. I do believe it is related to success. So the fact that we see more and more younger people getting involved in this, I think in part is due to the fact that younger generations are a little more intelligent, or at least we would hope so. That's what we would want for our children and our next of kin, right? We don't want them to be less intelligent than us. And I don't think that is exactly 100% of the reason why they're investing. I think it's because of also there's a lack of options in terms of investing. But cryptocurrency really presents something that no other investment vehicle has ever presented before. And basically, to sum up, my point here is that this increasing trend of newer and newer generations becoming more and more invested in cryptocurrency will continue. And eventually that'll reach a pinnacle or a singularity where cryptocurrency will be the currency that people use. I think that'll be the ultimate conclusion to even what this simple 1,000 person poll data shows. Other stuff regarding urban, suburban, rural, I don't really want to get into much. And then annual income is another thing. It seems that the more income you have, the more invested you are, obviously, because you have a little extra money to spend. I think that's kind of intuitive. That just kind of makes sense there. And yeah, guys, just more proof from me, and maybe to kind of persuade you that, yeah, cryptocurrency is here to stay. I don't have to persuade myself. I already believe that. But if you're having any doubts, I guess that was the point of covering that. And this also this last survey plays a little part in that. The higher earning millennial men are most interested in cryptocurrency. So if you're younger, if you make a lot of money, and if you are a male, you are then most likely, statistically, to be interested in cryptocurrency investment. I have a few friends who do have huge paychecks. They're engineers, / some of them are computer scientists. And interestingly enough, they are actually not very interested in cryptocurrency. They're kind of interested in the idea. However, as far as I know from the select individuals that I'm referencing right now that I know in real life, they are not actually invested, aside from a few of them who, unfortunately, I guess in my mind, they're invested in XRP only, which is kind of interesting to me. Again, this is just a very, very small select sample size of just people that I've grown up with and people that I know very, very well and that make a very large amount of income. So, worldwide, I think that's different. Like I said, they are interested, and some of them are invested solely in XRP for some reason. But without a doubt, this survey finds what I would kind of think would be the case anyway, that men and the younger millennial men and that they make a lot of money are the most interested and invested, I would say, in cryptocurrency. But yeah, guys, that's it for today's video. Hope everyone is having a great day. Hope everyone has a great day and a great weekend, Saturday, October 6th, 2018. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.